Sportsbook.com. This is Betting with the Bag. Yesterday was a disaster. 0-2 in NHL. I can't get right in NHL. NBA 1-1 on side. Well, 1-0 on the side with the Pelicans. 0-1 on the total with the Jazz game. But 0-3 on props. I was getting too cute. 2-2 in NCAA basketball. A disaster. I am nonplussed. And I am out for blood. We're going to get Babano on the show right away to break down this NHL card. I cut it down to my top 3 favorite plays in NHL, although I came close to adding a couple dogs in the Sabres and Coyotes, and maybe I still will, especially the Coyotes. But when you're down a couple units, which I am right now in NHL, do you really want to get in the way of an 8-game winning streak with the Lightning? And that's why I have not made that bet yet. I'm angry. God. Looks like I'm going to have to make a little payment tomorrow, unless I do something about it tonight. Ugh. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Dan Kelly in the house. The Sweaty Butcher. Anna Merrick. Kanaskat. Nilo. Felipe Fernandez. The Sweaty Butcher liking Celtics plus 2.5. Nilo liking Boston Bruins minus 1.5. I'm on that Boston Bruins look as well. Gabriel Hernandez in the house. Cashed on Magic minus 9.5. And the Pacers Heat over 210. Alex Mears. Hornets came in. Nice job. Also, Dan Kelly hit with his Nuggets team total under 109. Great job. And I didn't pull the trigger on the Nuggets money line or spread. Extremely disappointing. Jimmy Gomez hit with the Spurs. Beautiful look. Cobra Sports 609. There's Jay Stone. Jay Stone liking my look on the Knights first period plus 115. I don't like the Knights as a hockey team. They're good, sure. There's a few good teams in the NHL. Very few great teams. Very few elite teams. There's a few good teams. They're a good team. But they've been down 3-0 in the first period 2 games in a row. Gerard Gallant is not going to allow that. So I'm taking them first period. I don't need them full game. Perfect rotation says, why am I hard right now? Because it's time to cap. Gabriel Hernandez, Dallas team total over 111.5. Leroy Flood in the house says, great picks, Gabriel. I tailed. Eric Jones in the house. Playoff Street says, yesterday was terrible. The Sweaty Butcher says, man, that game was heading over all night, then went flat. 0 scoring run for 2.5 minutes. Man, you want to talk about a game that went flat? It's that over in the Flyers-Capitals game. 2-2 after the first period. Unbelievable. AM in the house. They just started selling a leche donut. Thank you for picking one up. In honor of me, we should sue. We shall sue. I'll talk to the higher-ups. Dave and Cal, 48 in the house. Carlos Perroge, Dave Burke, Big Worm, Joey Evang, Matt Randall, Omega Capper, Zombie Pie, Josh CTK, Mitch Bruner, one for the money. Ron Fig, Nasty Nate in the house. Rye Cape. I'm angry. Maybe Babano can turn this around, but you can see why I'm angry. Let's put up the NHL record. Disgrace. Supposed to be my bread and butter. What a mess. Down 1.89 units after that 0-2 showing. Oh. All right. There's Silver Malco. Cobra Sports says, I think that Lightning line is suspicious. Seems too low. I mean, come on. Coyotes are a good hockey team. Let's bring in Babano right now. We only have 30 minutes with each of our 3 guests. We have Babano. We have Teddy Covers. And we have Maxwell Smart. And if you want to help us, hit the link at the bottom of the page, www.sbrvideo.com/thebag. And it's the only thing I will ever ask you guys for is if you can hit that link to show SPR that we are valuable. Let's bring on our guy, Babano, right now. Babano, I'm angry. How are you doing this morning?
I was just going to say Happy New Year, and I'm going to be nice and cheery and joyful, and I'm hearing that you're angry, and that makes me sad, Jimmy, that you're feeling that way. But Happy New Year, Jimmy, to you, to the low baggers. I know this is my first time on the show, I believe, in 2020. No, maybe last Thursday was January 2nd. I might have been on that day. Nevertheless, let's get to it. We got a great NHL card. See, I'm losing track of time.
Okay, that did make me smile. And in fact, that made me laugh. That's my first laugh for the day. Yes, you were here on January 2nd, and you gave us the glorious news. Let's get to work, Babano. I'm on the Bruins minus 1.5 to get my day started, plus 115. I'm fading the Jets after that impressive performance last night against the Leafs. I'm fading Laurent Brossoit with an 889 Sabres defense, 3.50 goals against average. But the main thing here, Babano, is that the Lightning are winning games fast, and the Bruins know this is not going to be a cakewalk if they want to win the Atlantic. They have to win now. Tuukka Rask, .924 save percentage. I'm expecting him in net. The Jets have a 73.0% penalty killing unit that the Bruins can take advantage of. Jets on the second half of back-to-back. They won 3 of their last 5. This concludes their 4-game road trip. They're fat and happy. Lose 5-0 to the Bruins and go back to Winnipeg. That's what I'm on, Babano. Are you making a move on Jets-Bruins?
Yeah, I certainly I wouldn't want to play Winnipeg in this spot. I haven't bet anything yet. I probably won't, but I wouldn't talk you out of Bruins puck line. They got a much-needed win, snapping that losing streak against Nashville the other night. Obviously, they picked on a reeling Predators team that's just not playing well right now, playing really poor hockey, especially in their own end. They just haven't been able to keep the puck out of their own net. Their goaltending's been lackadaisical, subpar. Bruins took advantage of that. But the Bruins have been a streaky team, and they went through these extended losing streaks, but they showed early in the season, they could get red hot. And maybe that win against Nashville propels them here tonight against Winnipeg. It is a very, very difficult spot for Winnipeg here. It's Montreal on Monday. Was Toronto last night, and now you're playing third road game in 4 nights here in Boston. You're going to be sitting Connor Hellebuck, who's actually played quite well in his last couple of starts, for Laurent Brossoit, whose numbers have been not so good so far this season. So, yeah, like I said, I would only look at the Boston side. I haven't pulled the trigger yet on the puck line. I probably won't, but I see why you're liking that.
I am pulling the trigger. You can get 1 cent better than I got, though. It's plus 116 now at Pinnacle. Silver Malco in there. We've got Roman Peddle, Nick Allegretti, ZZZ, Dino 45, Omar J. Legend, Red Girl in the house, Shadow, Mr. Ghoster, Shaft, Brant Hunt. That's the first look on my card. I am backing the Boston Bruins. And let's go to the best sportsbook odds page in the business at sportsbookreview.com, and we are looking at the total here in this Boston game. It is at 6. It's moved 1 cent towards the under. It opened under 6 and minus 112. Now it's under 6 and minus 111. I'm on the Bruins minus 1.5 at plus 115. That's my first look on the card, and then we get right into my second look on the card. And I'm taking the Oilers on the minus 1 line at plus 237. Montreal opened up at minus 137. They're now at minus 130. That's exactly where it stands, where it stood when I made the bet. There's been no change there. Mike Smith, Babano, looks like he's coming back to take over the reins as the starting goaltender. Often, these European goaltenders who aren't used to our 82-game season get tired around this time of year, and it looks like it's happening to Koskinen. Habs have lost 6 straight. I'm picking on these Habs who are without very key forwards, and we've gone over them. Gallagher, yep. Drouin, Byron, Armia. Connor McDavid is rolling right now. Edmonton 3-0-1 in their last 4 contests. Carey Price, traditionally bad against the Oilers. I put a line through that. Why would he be bad against the Oilers? Against them? There's no rivalry there, really. I don't see why he's 3-8-1, 3.70 goals against average. That's not why I'm making the bet. I'm putting my foot on the throat of the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm getting plus 237 on the minus 1. I got plus 335 on the minus 1.5. Babano, what do you think of me back in the oil here?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on this one. Edmonton to me stuck out like a sore thumb on this card. Now, it is a little concerning that I'm seeing John Liu, TSN, Canadians reporter. He does all the beat writing, and he does all the hits on SportsCenter for Canadians games. He is saying Brendan Gallagher's on the ice for the morning skate this morning, so there is a potential he gets back in the lineup, and that does matter for Montreal. He's a heart and soul player. He is one of those guys with his pit bull attitude and play on the ice that he could turn the momentum of the game around for his team with one shift in the offensive zone, taking that punishment he takes in front of the net. And that certainly could be a spark and a boost if he indeed plays. They haven't said for sure he's back in tonight, but he was on the ice for the morning skate. That being said, I'm still sticking with the Oilers here tonight in this game, whether Gallagher comes back or not. They're still without Byron. Armia's an underrated absence. I talked about him, I believe, last time I was on. Great two-way player. They got a lot more offensively than I think a lot of people thought. The penalty kill, they miss him there too. Drew Anick goes without saying, but they're banged up at forward. And the biggest issue with Montreal right now is and I know Carey Price is getting a lot of blame, and he doesn't deserve all the blame. There's a lot of other issues with this team than Carey Price. That being said, 2-1 the other night against Winnipeg, breakaway goal. It's a little dribbler that squeaks right through the 5-hole. I'd like a save on that goal personally. I'd like a save on that shot from Carey Price if I'm a coach there, and I'm thinking, we're down 2-1. We need a save to keep us within striking distance. Sure enough, it goes in 3-1. He does need to be better. He is not the focal point of why Montreal is struggling, clearly, but he does need to be better, and he's been he's been average, the last couple of weeks during this Montreal skid. And then it was rock bottom, Jimmy, the other night against Detroit. Like -150 road favorite. That's supposed to be a team that you beat, that you end the losing streak, that you stop the bleeding. And again, turnovers, blowing a third period lead, something Montreal's done a couple of times during this losing streak. So this is not a team that I think has any business as chalk right now. So, yeah, I'm with you on Edmonton tonight.
But did you take him on the money line, or did you go for a big score like I did?
A little safer, a little more conservative, just the money line. I got as high as +120 on them. It's +115, +110 right now. I still like the price.
Let's move on to Coyotes Lightning. Babano, I came close, and then I looked at my record, down 2 units now on the year, just under 2 units. And I was like, I can't just get in the way of a team on an 8-game winning streak, but this feels like the time to do it. And I'm not against it right now. I wanted to talk this spot out. Coyotes right now, big dogs against Lightning. Lightning at -190. Adin Hill looked good when he came in last year. He's looking good again this year. Tall. He's 6'6", I believe. And he's, these Coyotes seem to keep bringing up quality goaltenders in the face of adversity and injuries. Lightning won their 8 straight 9-2 over the Knuckleheads on Tuesday night. Verhaeghe scored a hat trick. 9 goals matched the franchise record. They had points in 8 straight versus the Pacific Division. Arizona looked very good pulling away from Florida. They played a very sound game. Kessel starting to score. Taylor Hall starting to score. And then this power play is rolling now that they got Hall and Kessel on the ice. They've killed 14 straight penalties on the PK, and they're now at 21% on the season for their power play unit. It's been a while since we've said that about a Coyotes team. I am backing I came close to backing the Coyotes here. Are you making a move on this game, Babano? All right. We got a frozen Babano. We'll call him right back. Let's take a look at this total here with this Coyotes Tampa spot. Opened juice to the over 6 at -117. It's now at -113. Dave Burke says Yotes are solid. I still haven't hedged that division bet I made at +310 for the Coyotes. And even after the loss against the Penguins for the Knights, they went from +300 to +250. And I'm waiting for that 8-game road trip that the Knights are about to go on. I'm waiting for that. I would like to make this move. Carlos Bro says, love Arizona for a big score tonight. I can't wait to hear what Babano has to say about this spot. Babano, Coyotes, Lightning.
I will have something on Arizona tonight because I like this team on the road. I like this team in the underdog role. I know it's not easy going against Tampa Bay and the streaking, surging, red-hot Lightning at this point in time that offensively, they're flowing right now. Obviously, they showed it the other night when they unload for 9 goals against Vancouver. But such a huge win, and it was such a big win because Vancouver was coming into that game on a 7-game win streak. Tampa Bay was coming into that game on a 7-game win streak. It was the battle of the streakers, and no, not that kind of streakers. Get your head out of the gutter. Vancouver and Tampa Bay the last game, but it was a big win for the Lightning. Now you're playing – not that you should have a letdown, but because it was 2 teams playing great hockey going into that game, it was a little bit of build-up to that Canuck Lightning game, and Tampa won so easily. You worry that tonight maybe they fall a little bit flat, and Arizona's the kind of team that can take advantage of it. I like the way they're playing. This is a team now where they got Taylor Hall, obviously, a couple weeks ago. They're going to be very soon calling up Barrett Hayton from the Canadian gold medal winning World Junior team to be on this team. And he actually played at Arizona before they loaned him to the World Junior team for Canada. And that guy's another guy that's going to add to the offense for this team. So we thought Arizona coming into the season would be pretty solid defensively, get good goaltending. They have. But now they're transforming a little bit into a higher scoring team. And without Darcy Kemper, and also now without Antti Raanta, let's not forget, both of their top 2 goalies are banged up right now and injured. So it's down to Adin Hill and Prosnetsov, the 2 goalies now for the Arizona Coyotes. Adin Hill was really good against Florida. I'll give him credit for that. But This is still a guy that's been a marginal minor league goalie most of his career. A lot of times when they have one good start, they're not going to be quite as good the next time out. And he is facing now an absolutely smoking Tampa Bay team offensively. So I do like Arizona, but I do like the over more in this game. Arizona is a team to me that I think as soon as Taylor Hall arrived on this team, I said, let's start cashing in on some Arizona games over the total because they're going to be an improved offensive team. And now with the cluster injuries, with their goaltending, you're going to see them, I think, decline just a little bit defensively as well. And we certainly, I think, have seen that in recent games. Arizona's been more of a trending over team in recent games. So I've got a smaller bet, half unit on the Arizona side. I do think the plus price is worth a look here, even with the injuries and goaltending for Arizona. Their road record, their underdog road record's been great. Worry about a little bit of a letdown for Tampa Bay. So I think that's worth a bet. Stronger bet for me, though, over the total here of 6.
Over the total of 6. That's what Terrell Miller was asking about. What about taking it over? I just don't feel like taking a bunch of shots today. I need to keep things tight. Maybe I add it on, but I'm not going to do it right now. Let's move over to the Knuckleheads at the Panthers. Knuckleheads open up at plus 125. They're now at plus 133. Let's move over to money lines and totals. I just had money lines up there. Let's move over to money lines and totals here in this spot. This total at 6.5. It was a pick 'em. There's been a 6-cent move to this over 6.5. Both teams have strong power plays. Canucks at 25.5%, Panthers at 23.0%, although that's dropping. Their power play is not hot. Barkov seems to have cooled off. Huberdeau is doing most of the damage here. Both teams have soft penalty killing. Markstrom going up against Bobrovsky. We expect it to be Bobrovsky. He hasn't played since Saturday. He allowed 3 goals, 7 shots, 3-2 loss to the Sabres. Canucks coming off that embarrassment, 9-2 loss on the road at Tampa. That was 2-2 with 3 minutes left in the second period, 4 minutes left in the second period. That snapped the Knucklehead 7-game winning streak. Panthers coming off that 5-2 loss at home to the Coyotes on Tuesday night. But Bono, are you making a move here?
Yeah, it'd be over or nothing for me, and I probably will be on that over 6.5. It does concern me. Vancouver's talking, embarrassing, and that usually when you give up 9 goals, you think, you got to shore up defensively. You're going to have your goaltender Jacob Markstrom's going to want to play a whole lot better, obviously, than he did the other night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But this is a Vancouver team that's been flying over the total lately. During this win streak, and until even the loss the other night, they've been playing a lot of higher scoring games. Florida, especially at home, tends to trend more to the over than they do under the total. We saw that the other night with the Arizona-Florida game going over the total. I was on that as well. And to me, it's just two defenses I don't trust. And people can talk all they want about Sergei Bobrovsky back in net. He hasn't been very good lately. And a lot of it is, again, the Florida defense. This is not a sturdy, we can lock things down blue line, Florida, compared to some other teams. They just don't have that kind of blue line that's capable of just shutting it down and keeping good offensive teams off the score sheet. And you look up and down Florida's schedule and results so far, it's been teams that can score and teams with good power plays that have really been problematic for this Florida team defensively. And 4th best power play in the NHL right now, Vancouver. I know they've struggled the last couple with the man advantage, but season-long numbers are this is a good power play and a bit of a not so good Florida penalty kill. So I think I'm staying away from the side. I would actually lean Vancouver because that was just such a bad loss, and Florida is chalk right now is not necessarily something I'm rushing to bet. So I'd lean a little bit to the Canucks, but we'll get involved over 6.5 in this one.
Yeah, if the Canucks weren't embarrassed by the Lightning, I'd be all over the Panthers here. I'm not going to be. The Panthers haven't shown much. I don't know if Q isn't getting through to them right now, but all I can do is be thankful I didn't take futures on them because I took futures on them last year. And I hummed and hawed all offseason whether it was time to take futures when they signed Q. And that's the only thing I can be thankful for right now. Prince of the City in the house. Mr. Gokster says another sharp line with Vancouver and Florida. So you made a move on the over 6.5, Babano?
Yes, I only lean Vancouver. I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger on Vancouver because those same quotes about Vancouver saying, we just got to put that one behind us. We got to get going and get back on track. Florida's saying the same thing. after the loss to Arizona. So, and Florida's talking about how we can't keep doing this. We can't keep losing a couple of games in a row and then win one and lose another couple. We got to get on a win streak. So, in theory, these are two teams I think get after it tonight. And when I think both teams are coming with a good effort and they're both capable offensively, and both of them are, that's why I like the over tonight.
Next up, and Bano, we got to speed up a bit. We started a couple minutes late, so we got to speed up. Devils, because we do want to hear NCAA basketball looks and your NFL playoff looks, and we've got to move on in about 11 or 12 minutes. So, Devils, Rangers, Blackwood versus who? Do you know who's going to be in net? Are they going to go back to Shesty? Igor Shesterkin, who looked so good with the Hartford Wolfpack. I got my Whalers hat on right now. Is it going to be Georgiev? What are they going to do with Lundqvist? This is confusing. It's always confusing when you have three goalies on the roster. So Devils 2-7-2 in their last 11. This Rangers team smashed them on December 2nd. That was the penultimate game for Hines. New Jersey is playing better of late. So sorry, that 2-7-2 record, my fault. 2-7-2 records against the Rangers. Last 11 games against the Rangers. They are 6-3-2 since December 13th. So apologize for that stat there. Devils blew a late one-goal lead and lost in overtime to the Islanders on Tuesday night. We're calling back Babano right now. Yes, Dan Kelly. Gordy and his boys was a spectacular line. Everybody, all the oldies would respect that. There's the Bookie Bandit saying, wish you the best, Jimmy. I need a night tonight, Bookie Bandit. Ian, Cameron, Rangers, Devils. You making a move here? Alex Ramirez has made the Rangers his Spidey play of the day. Are you making a move here?
Yeah, I'm disappointed by this price. I mean, minus 150. I know it's New Jersey, and I know that they've had a tough season, but I was expecting hopefully something a little cheaper on New York than minus 150. That being said, I would only look at the Rangers. I think the Rangers are going to actually be a short-term they've got a short-term win streak in them. It's all about defense for them. We know they can score goals. I actually will be on Mika Zibanejad to score tonight. He has just been automatic in terms of goal scoring lately for the Rangers. Been red hot. The goal scoring props that I post on Twitter at Bobano Daily have been doing quite well the last few days. So that'll be one of the goal scoring props I look at, Mika Zibanejad to score tonight for the Rangers. But I think with Igor Shesterkin, I really liked what I saw to this kid the other night against Colorado. That game could have went off the rails in a hurry. Gets down 2-0 early. The second goal was a product of a brutal turnover in front of him, and you can't give McKinnon those kind of chances. But after that 2-0 early Colorado lead, he settled right in. He made some nice saves, and he kept a very potent Colorado team off the score sheet for the most part for the rest of the game, and the Rangers come back for him and win that game. If Shesterkin's in net, I'll be looking at backing the Rangers because this guy is one of the top goalie prospects in the world right now. He's had multiple years in the KHL a few years ago and put up eye-popping, incredible numbers there. Goals against, save percentage. Had a great season so far in the AHL this year with Hartford, with the Wolfpack. This guy looks like he could be the real deal, and he's absolutely the future for this Rangers team in net. I think they end up trading Georgiev. They'd like to trade Lundqvist, but nobody's going to trade for Lundqvist at his age with that contract and that money that's tied up to that Lundqvist contract. It's too much money for a guy that's on the downslope of his career. They can't keep three goalies indefinitely. They won't. So I think Georgiev's the likely trade candidate. There are suitors out there that are very much interested in Georgiev with the solid season he's had. So I think long-term it'll be Shesterkin and Lundqvist, the two goalies, and they'll trade Georgiev before the deadline. But I lean Rangers regardless who's in net, but I'd like it more if Shesterkin's in net. I think that guy's the real deal.
Yes, the Wookie Bandit. We will mention our favorite spots on the card. And right now mine's Bruins minus 1.5 at plus 115. You know what? No, it's not. The value's on the Oilers on the -1 line, though. If I was going to pick between two plus 115s, Oilers money line and Bruins minus 1.5, I would probably go to the Bruins minus 1.5 against Bressois. So, but Edmonton -1 at plus 237 is the look. We got to speed up, Babano. Sabres was a look I almost made. I didn't because of the injuries they're dealing with. Also, Babano talking about the props with Zibanejad, 5 goals in his last 6 games. Panarin also rolling right now. Blues have won 6 straight at home. The Lightning have won 8 straight overall. Why get in the way of these winning streaks? But I think that one can come through if they weren't dealing with these injuries. But the Blues don't have Colton Parayko. I mean, that's a huge loss. He could come back. It's possible. But you want to bring in what? Jake Wallman? Nico Mikkola? Colton Parayko would probably be on Team Canada right now. Sabres are missing Jeff Skinner. They're missing Victor Olofsson. So Marcus Johansson stepped up. Connor Sheary stepped up. Jimmy Vesey stepped up. Vesey stepped up. Jake McCabe likely to miss Thursday's game. So the Sabres probably have enough injuries for me not to get in the way of the Blues at home. Blues second game of a 5-game homestand. This spot here, Blues at minus 194 now, minus 203. This total at 5.5. Babano, you making a move? All right, we've lost Babano. I could make a move on the Sabres. Babano's internet's coming in and out. We will figure out. Mr. Ghost says, yes, Jim, line is too high for St. Louis, in my opinion. We got Babano back in action. Babano, what do you think of this spot? Blues, Sabres.
Yeah, the feed's freezing a little bit from time to time this morning. I have no idea why, but that's why. The SBR's on top of it. They keep calling me back, getting me back in here. So it's all good. Blues and Sabres. My buddy Adam, that I do the play of the day video, he likes the Blues puck line here in this game. I'm torn on this game. This is not a game I'm going to be involved in. St. Louis, I worry that, they finally got the win to snap the losing streak. They've been very good at home. Buffalo has won a couple in a row. I appreciate what they've done with all the injuries they're dealing with. The Olofsson one, the way that rookie has played for them on that top line, they really do miss him. It wouldn't put it past me for the Sabres to go in there and make this game tough on the Blues. I don't know if I trust them to win it, so it's a pass for me.
It's a pass for me. Here's another pass. I would like nothing more than to fade the Blackhawks, but I don't know what's going on with the Well, I do know what's going on. Ryan Johansson, someone that, I've believed in through his whole career, is not that good. And Kyle Turris, somebody at one point I did believe in, is not that good. And wherever Duchesne goes, losing follows. Great call on your Kubalik. Player prop to score. He scored the only goal in that Blackhawks game, that 2-1 setback on Tuesday night to the Flames. Dylan Strome missed practice, so we're not sure if he's going to be in the game. He's got a right ankle injury. If he is out, then Shaw. We know Seabrook and DeHaan out for the year. Robin Lehner also dealing with a knee injury, but I don't want to back these Predators. They're a mess. Predators, and also at minus, they were minus 140 at one point. They're down to minus 135. This total at 6.5. Babano, Predators, Blackhawks.
There's no freaking way I'm taking Nashville. It's just a question of can I get there with Chicago, and I'm not sure at this point in time. I'm really not, because John Hines finally got a practice day with the Predators yesterday after the loss to Boston in his first game behind the bench. Maybe that helps. Now at least some systems are put in place. You have a little bit of expectation as a player on this team, what the coach wants you to do, what structure, what he wants you to, how he wants you to play on the ice. Maybe that helps you in this game against Chicago. But the fact of the matter is, you're right. I mean, other than their top line, they haven't gotten secondary scoring. Their defensive play, I can't believe how much Ekholm and Yossi and guys like that have tailed off defensively. They've been very, very disastrous at times, just hemmed in their defensive zone, unable to clear pucks out. The goaltending from Rinne and Saros combined remains very, very shaky. I'm not sure I'll bet the side in this one. I would only take Chicago. I will be targeting some Chicago goal scoring props. You mentioned I was on Kubalik the other night. I'll be looking at Kubalik again. He's in very good offensive form. He's going to be getting another good price. And we know Nashville has been giving out goals like people give out Christmas gifts just a few weeks ago. So I think Chicago players to score some goals. I'll be looking at some Blackhawk props tonight, including Kubalik. I will definitely be on him to score once again.
Rod Zawacki liking Blackhawks money line. I get it. We got to be fast here, but Babano. Wild Flames. Wild are a fresh group. They haven't played since they lost to the Flames on Sunday. 5-4 shootout loss at home to the Flames. They have one win in their last 4 games. Dubnyk has left the team to go be back with his wife due to a medical condition. Flames, and we don't. It's not good. Whatever it is. It's a serious issue that's going on with his wife right now. And every time he comes back, he seems to give the team a big jolt, a big boost. Stalock going to be in goal up against, we think, Riddick. Not entirely sure, but we think it's going to be Riddick in net. Wild Flames. Flames open up at minus 141. They're now minus 153. I'm off this game. Are you making a move?
I am not. Lean to Calgary in regulation, but didn't like the price enough. But that would be the way I'd go. Flames in regulation. I'll probably leave it alone, though.
Golden Knights have been down 3-0 twice in their last 2 games. 3-0 in the first period twice, and Jarglant very upset. They came back. And beat the Blues 5-4 in one spot. I believe it was 5-4 in overtime in the first spot. And that was the first time in the history of the franchise that they come back from 3 goals down, a 3-goal deficit to win a game. They did not do it against Pittsburgh, although they came back firing again. I need I need Vegas to lose with my Coyotes futures, but I think they come out firing in the first period. The best value I can find in this whole game, because I don't think they're that good of a hockey team, was the Knights' first period -0.5. I got that at plus 115. That is my look. This is 6 game of a 7-game homestand, traditionally a great spot for a team. LA on the second half of back-to-back after losing 2-1 at home last night to the Stars. Third straight loss, 7 in 9 games. I'm on the Knights' first period -0.5 at plus 115. Are you making a move here?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's Vegas should win this game. I mean, it's a tricky spot for LA off the loss last night against Dallas, back-to-back situation. Vegas not happy after the slow start against Pittsburgh. I think the best value is the one you mentioned. First period, lay and a half puck, plus 115 is not bad. For me, I was looking at Vegas, but no money line value, not the greatest puck line value. So lean Vegas, but not something I'm going to get to the window and bet.
Kira liking the under 6. I historically don't like backing teams, defensive teams on the second half of a back-to-back. I think they get tired legs in the third period and aren't as accountable defensively. But we saw Flyers and Capitals go under last night when I thought that game would go over. Jackets, Sharks, and Stars, Ducks are the last 2 games on the card. Let's start with Stars, Ducks. Jin Rummy making a move on the Ducks. I get it. Dallas opening up at -138. They're now -127 to move towards the Ducks. This total's at 5. It's not juiced nearly quite as much as yesterday's total at 5 with the Stars Kings that went 2-1. Anaheim off a 4-3 home defeat to the Jackets on Tuesday night. I'm not making a move on this game as of yet. Are you making a move on Stars Ducks?
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on the over here. 5 -1. Anaheim's just going nuts with the overs lately. I mean, Anaheim's really been trending over the total to a really strong clip the last 6-7 games. They've been scoring a little bit more. Even Getzlaf has gotten his offense going lately. Andre Kasha as well for this team. But defensively, this Anaheim team's definitely had issues keeping the puck out of their own net. The play in front of John Gibson hasn't been great. It's kind of like Carey Price in Montreal. It's not all on Gibson. He hasn't been as good, but a lot of it is the players in front of him. It's not been as a tight Anaheim defense like we usually see from them in years past. I know it's like pulling teeth to get a Dallas Stars game over the total. Look at last night as a perfect example. Even at 5, that game stays under the total with the Kings last night. But I think this one can get there. Anaheim's got a little bit more punch than Dallas. Dallas can take advantage of an Anaheim team that's not defending all that well lately. Anaheim, like I say, trending over. It's only a 5. I'll take a chance over the total here.
I like it. Gibson's not playing well. This Ducks team is nothing like the teams that we remember. It's down to -124. Although, God, my book's at -140. That's why you need to go to hit that link and go to the best sportsbook page. Make sure you have multiple accounts. -124 here at Pinnacle. That makes sense to me. Also, again, the second half of a back-to-back. Will the Stars have tired legs, heavy legs in third period, although there's no travel from LA to Anaheim? I'm with that. I'm going to take the over 5 -124 at Pinnacle. That makes a lot of sense to me. And then finally, very quickly, Jackets, Sharks. I will go out and say it right now. Zach Werenski and Seth Jones are the best defensive pair in the National Hockey League. But that's all these Jackets have. They're so good that the Jackets are rolling. They're on a huge road winning streak right now, or at least point streak, I should say. Werenski leading the NHL in goals by a defenseman with 15. Hurdle is now going to take Logan Couture's spot. Couture out 6 weeks with a broken ankle. Merzlikins has looked good as the starter. I notice in situations like this that a team can pull together. They're moving Hurdle to that number 1 spot with Marleau and Kane. Kane's playing very well right now. They could come together in the short period. We just saw Pittsburgh come together in a huge way, but Sully's such a great coach. Could Boogie do that? I don't know. Jackets, Sharks. I haven't made a move here. Are you making a move?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I see San Jose favored, I'm interested going against them, and I'm going to do that here with this Columbus team. As undermanned as they've been, all the injuries up front, they've found ways to win games. Merzlikins has been really solid. I got to give him credit because he was a mess earlier this season when he was backing up for Korpisalo. Korpisalo gets injured. He's thrust into the number 1 goaltending role, and look at him. He's playing great for this Columbus team right now. Zach Werenski to score. I cashed that prop the other night. I'll be on that again. Zach Werenski is finding the back of the net for this team. It's unbelievable, and you're getting great prices, plus 300 like the other night. So I like Columbus, plus 106, and I like Zach Werenski to score tonight. A great value goal-scoring prop.
I like that look. It makes sense to back the Jackets. I wonder what the Sharks are going to show us if they have Akira on Jackets money line. But Bino, we got to go. Are you making any moves on this NCAA basketball card? We don't have time to break down your looks, but I will write them down so we can talk about them throughout the rest of the show. Are you making any moves?
3 so far, and I'm close with Oregon against Arizona because I don't believe in Arizona just yet. On the road, they haven't beaten anybody good. They lost to Gonzaga, St. John's, and Baylor. Let's see what they can do against Oregon. And I love Dana Altman. He's been good to me betting-wise over the years. So I leaned there. I didn't quite pull the trigger, but leaned Oregon. My 3 official looks were on St. Peter's, +9 against Siena. This is one of the hottest point spread teams going right now, St. Peter's. They're not aesthetically pleasing to watch. They're not great offensively, but boy, they defend. They play slow. They frustrate the opponent. They've been good in the road dog role. They won at Iona, came back to win at Iona in overtime last week. I think they'll give Siena a game. Siena has not been covering all the time at home. St. Peter's has been a great road team, covering numbers on the road with a good defensive basketball team there. I think they stay close there. I took Memphis, Wichita over 140.5. The key handicap here is Wichita when they play teams that want to play fast like Memphis. We know Penny Hardaway, one of the fastest teams in the country, Memphis. Well, Wichita State's played Oklahoma. They've played a couple other teams that play a fast style of basketball, and they've been pulled into these higher scoring games against those teams. And even Wichita is on I believe, 8-1 over the total streak or something along those lines. They have been trending over, so I think we'll see points. Memphis, Wichita State, good AAC game there. And my third one is Hofstra, +5 against Northeastern. Hofstra's been good on the road. It's a good basketball team. Joe Mihalik's done a good job. Northeastern's a good team themselves, but they've been dreadful at home. I think they're on an 0-7 ATS run at home, Northeastern ATS. And this game is circled for Hofstra. Hofstra got knocked out last year in the CAA tournament. They were the number 1 seed in that tournament, thought they were going dancing. Northeastern beat them in the conference tournament final last year. Hofstra's talking about wanting some payback tonight from what I've heard, from what I've seen, and I think they're good enough to take this game at least down to the wire, if not win outright. So Hofstra Pride, +5 for me.
I love it. Hofstra +5, Memphis over 140.5, St. Peter's +9, leaning towards Oregon. Rod Zawacki is on Oregon. He's backing Oregon. He's also got Hofstra on his card as well. Dan Kelly coming with the basketball play. Perfect timing because we're going to hammer this basketball card with Teddy Covers. Follow Babano on Twitter @Babano. Love these Thursdays with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a very profitable night, my friend, and thanks.
Good stuff, Jimmy. Take care. Low baggers, have a good night. Good luck with all your bets. We'll see you again next time.
There he is, Babano. We go right from Babano to Teddy Covers coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, how are you doing on this Thursday?
I'm all right, Jimmy. How about yourself this morning?
What a difference a day makes, Teddy. I'm angry. All 3 of those props went down the tubes. I lost both my hockey bets. I went 2-2 in NCAA basketball. I'm very angry. I'm angry, and I want to turn it around. And I want to turn it around right now, Teddy. And I'm starting to get, I'm starting to get out of it a little bit. But I'm angry. God damn it!
So anger helps me sometimes when I'm capping, for what it's worth. When I'm really pissed off, it's a decision I made or something that I did. It helps my focus level. Does that work? I mean, I don't know if that's universal or if that's just me, but when I get mad, I get focused. And when I get focused, I tend to dig good info. So have you found that to be the case? Or when you get mad, is it just, the same old, same old?
I'm not entirely sure about the angry side of things. I find when I have less sleep, I simplify things. And I am taking melatonin right now, so I've been sleeping the last few days. I do know that I didn't reach in this NHL card. I have 3 plays that I really like. There was 2 dogs that I could have taken, but I'm going in and getting in the way of winning streaks. So I'm not entirely sure how angry, but you're right. It does focus. I was up very, very early, 4:45 here, and I've been sleeping in a little bit longer than that lately, but this time we had the 12 NHL games to cap. So I got up at 4:45, and I've beat the shit out of this NHL card, and I've locked into this NBA card, but haven't not made any moves. here. So I want to break this down right now, starting with these Boston Celtics, Teddy. Celtics at Sixers. No Joel Embiid, dislocated left ring finger. Let's see what the SBR odds page has to say about this spot here. Sorry, I'm on money lines. We're going to move over to spreads and totals. We have 4 games on the card, and I'd like to touch on all of them with you, Teddy. Philadelphia opens up as 2.5-point favorites. That's where they stand right now. This total is at 215.5. Embiid got hurt early in the first quarter of that game. Came back, tape on his fingers, 18 points, 9 boards, 8 assists. He looked very good. But Sixers are 3-4 without him. And they've beaten the Celtics both times so far this year. Celtics, second half of a back-to-back, 15-point loss to San Antonio last night. Kemba Walker played 18 minutes, got 2 techs, was ejected in the third quarter, finished with 6 points, 4 assists, did not look good. Dice did play. Hayward led the team with 18 points, Brown 16, Tatum 14, Smart 12. This has a lot of moving parts in this game. I can't wait to hear what you think of it. Celtics, Sixers.
Sure, it's one of those days. There's only 4 games on the NBA card, and I've got opinions on 3 of the 4 games, which isn't, a lot of times it'll be a 14-game card, and I'll have opinions on 2. But I made a move on this game, as well as 2 others. I got Philly plus 2.5. Boston plus 2.5 in my pocket against the 76ers. Yeah, the Celtics lost by 15 last night. If you watch the game, they lost by 100. All right. Kemba got ejected. Brad Stevens got ejected. They were frustrated. It was not the effort that they were hoping for. And the Spurs just had one of those nights where every shot fell. Stevens ripping into the team afterwards. The effort wasn't there. Nobody played major minutes. Boston's in real good shape for a team on the second of back-to-backs. And the impression I got was they're coming to play tonight. And Philly without Embiid, this isn't new or different. Sixers bring Embiid is the straw that stirs the drink. That said, I would have no problems, taking Boston plus whatever it would be, 6.5, 6, 5, if Embiid was in the lineup. Without him, I like him just as much, if not more. And even though the Sixers snapped their losing streak, beat OKC the other night, still 1-4 their last 5. They're still not playing defense. And frankly, the win the other night, a lot of guys hit shots. The flow, the offensive flow for Philadelphia continues to make me feel like they're not as good as the pieces they have in place for that team. I don't want the Sixers laying without Embiid. Boston plus.
Gabriel Hernandez liking Boston plus 2.5 and the under 216.5. Cash action bets liking Philly and the over. The over initially is somewhat appealing, knowing that Embiid's not going to be clogging up the paint. But Dan Kelly on that first half under, his numbers are telling him to make that move. And then when you think about the paint, it just is so much easier to move around there when Horford is in there. Horford isn't, bad defensively, but he's nothing like, when Kyle O'Quinn's in there, at least he's clogging up the paint. Horford doesn't seem to do that. That play makes a lot of sense to me. Skeet Profit in the house, perfect timing. Prince of the City, Christopher Comentini saying Philly all day. Akira saying Philly minus 2.5. You have to think that Kemba's angry. His player prop is at 20.5. I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on those 2 spots right now. But Celtics and Kemba are interesting looks. And I may end up pulling the trigger. Capo 17 Don back in action with us. Lamont Williams has come in with his 3-team parlay in college basketball. I'm going to copy and paste that so we can talk about it. But let's talk about this Cavaliers-Pistons spot. I don't know what you make of this Bayline situation. Thugs, slugs. I don't know what to make of it, in all honesty. It's a tricky spot. And the fact that that the team was upset just goes to show sort of what you were talking about, how he's not comfortable. And this could be a short final stop of his basketball coaching career. So that's going on. Then you have this Pistons team that's lost Blake Griffin and is playing fine. They have Sekou Doumbouya. One nasty dunk in his last game. 13 points, 7 boards, and 4 career starts. They love him. You can see the bench loves him. They went 2-4 on their road trip. Who'd they beat? The Cavs and the Warriors. It was ugly. Kevin Love goes for 30 and 9 in that win. that 115-113 victory at Cleveland, two nights ago. And Cavs are starting a 6-game road trip. This is a tricky spot. I'm curious to hear what you think of the whole thug slug thing going on with Bayline. Detroit at -7. I don't find that appealing. This total at 220.5, up from 220. Teddy covers Cavs, Pistons.
Well, I mean, the Pistons were good enough to beat Cleveland by 2 the other night. And in their last 17 games, they have won twice by more than 7 points, so it can happen. But no, Detroit's not a team I'm excited about laying 7 points with either. Their wins by margin have been few, and their wins have been few and far between. Their wins by margin have been fewer and far between. And as you mentioned, they just stole one. I mean, they stole that game in Cleveland the other night. The Cavs were in control, and that was 2 days ago. Cavs lead by double digits in the fourth quarter, and what Detroit did. Derrick Rose got hot down the stretch, and the Pistons ended up winning by a deuce. So there's no interest in laying a price with Detroit. Okay, the question is this the time where we get on board with Cleveland? And in theory, it's the right opponent. Detroit's not that good. In theory, it's the right spot. All right, with the Cavs having just lost to this team at home, having the whole Bayline, what did he say and when did he say it? I'm not even going to call it controversy. I think it's been blown up a little bit more in the media than it may actually be. But at the same time, he's been contrite. He's calling all the players. The Cavs could step up tonight. Then again, if they step up, are they any good anyway? I could only play Cleveland here. I have not pulled the trigger on Cleveland. I wouldn't talk anyone out of it. But it does feel like, and I don't think it'll be Bayline's last stop. I honestly think if Bayline, if this is a short tenure in Cleveland, he'll end up back in college and he'll do a fine job somewhere doing something. The guy can coach basketball. Whether he can relate to his team right now is another question entirely. Lean Cavs, haven't pulled the trigger.
I just took it as a sign that the Cavs don't like him. Because if they liked him, they would have had his back. And so that's all. I just took that as a sign that they just don't like him. You made a move on the Celtics. Did you take the points or the money?
Plus 2.5.
Okay. Let's keep rolling. I'm off of Cavs, Pistons. Jansen Bonds in the house. We got Junior Brown back in action, whom we love dearly. Great to see you, Junior Brown. Glad to have you back. You are loved dearly on this show, Junior Brown in our chat. Love it. Ski Props says I like the Celtics too. Let's move on to Blazers, Timberwolves. We've already seen a couple cappers in the chat liking these Blazers tonight. In our opening graphic, Teddy, was that Carmelo Anthony, whom our guy JB Junior Brown loves since his days from Syracuse. Carmelo Anthony, in this stat, the reason why I put it on the graphic, it surprised me. He leads the league in field goals in the last 5 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime. He's hit 17 of them since 2003, leading the league, coming off 28 points, and he's shown a lot of heart in this comeback. And I've never really liked him that much, but I like what he's doing here, and I'm starting to like him. Let's talk Blazers, Timberwolves. Blazers pace last 5, 23rd. Timberwolves pace last 5, 3rd in the league. Looking like the 12th straight game that they're not going to have Cat in the lineup. They lost to Memphis. I hit the over on that game. Timberwolves are 4-3 in their last 7 games after that 11-game losing streak. They're coming together. They're playing well. Portland has beaten Minnesota in 6 of the past 7 games. Portland's not playing well. Yes, they just beat the Raptors, but that was just their second win in their past 8 games. But they are 2-2 on this 5-game road trip, and it would feel good to go back to Portland after a 3-2 road trip. Any winning road trip is a good road trip. Open up at 2 now at 2.5. Teddy, I imagine after your introduction to this card that you've made a move on this game. I can't wait to hear it.
I laid with Portland. Absolutely. And when we look at the upside of these two teams, I continue to look at the Blazers are 8 games under 500. They're a game out of the last playoff spot in the West. They're going to be there. All right. Portland's not we'll see what happens come March and April, but the Blazers aren't going into tank mode. They just had a nice win in Toronto. And from a point spread perspective, Portland's played bad enough that as they improve, there may be a whole lot of value to ride this Blazers team. All right. So the win over Toronto is impressive because it's a win over a good defensive team. You know, I understand the Raptors are riddled with injuries, but, you know, the Blazers have had issues on both ends of the court this season, and having Melo hit a game winner and walking off the court to win against a solid defensive foe and then taking a step down in defensive class tonight, I think it works in their favor in a pretty significant way. And the T-Wolves have played better without Cat. Let's be flat out honest, all right? They played better during this stretch without Karl Anthony Towns than at any point with him this season. But they're coming off a blown lead loss. This is not a particularly strong home court as far as home courts go in the NBA. And the teams that come into Minnesota with a chip on their shoulder are going to beat them. And I think Portland comes in with a little chip on their shoulder. I laid 2.5 with the Blazers.
Laid 2.5, as did our guy Dan Kelly as well. I have made 2 moves. I'm on the Celtics money line at plus 125. I'm on Kemba Walker over 20.5 points at minus 120. Let's move on to a very interesting game here. Rockets Thunder. I've not made a move in this Blazers Timberwolves spot yet. Rockets Thunder, let's talk about this spot because we get to see Westbrook returning to the Chesapeake Energy Arena. We thought that he was going to be coming back to a disaster, and quite the opposite has happened. This is a team that likes playing together, and Chris Paul has led by example, averaging 17.1 points, 7.2 assists over his last 20 games. And our guy Shai from Toronto has been spectacular. I've become an enormous fan of him. Westbrook missed, so the Rockets on the second half of a back-to-back. They got by Atlanta, didn't do it easy. And Westbrook skipped that game, so he'd be ready and focused to hammer this game. Houston coming in on a 3-game winning streak. Thunder have won 6 of their last 7. This is a very, very interesting spot. Rockets opened up at minus 3.5. Now they're at minus 4. This total opened up at 226. Now at 226.5. Teddy Covers, take it away. Rockets, Thunder.
So, I mean, who's the hottest point spread team in the NBA right now? And it's really not that close. No, that's OKC. You know, they've been the undervalued commodity. They covered their last 6. I got them 13-2 against the spread their last 15 as a dog. And for all this Russell Westbrook's coming back in his old stomping grounds, you think OKC doesn't want to say something to Russell Westbrook tonight? They're catching points at home. The Rockets on the second of back-to-backs. I mean, this one to me is something of a no-brainer. You know, it wasn't one that I was debating for an hour. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? It's like, here's the hot team. Here's the undervalued commodity. You ride that team. The market's focusing on, whoa, Westbrook's going to be back tonight. He usually sits the first of back-to-backs, and this time sits the second of back-to-backs. This time he's sitting on the first. Well, you know, Chris Paul might have something to say about that. And you talked about Gilgeous-Alexander. He's fun to watch. The OKC's a fun team to watch, man. They're playing good ball on a consistent basis. I like the way they react cohesively when facing adversity. I've seen them rally from behind multiple times during this run. And they're not a team that falls asleep with leads on a consistent basis. So at +4, that was an attractive enough price to put in my pocket. I like the Thunder plus tonight.
Liking the Thunder plus the points. It makes sense to me. What do you think of this total at 226.5? I was thinking there was going to be points in this game.
I'm sure there's going to be points. The question is whether they're going to be 226 or 227. I doubt it ends in a nothing tie, although it's possible. But I don't have a strong feel towards the total in this ball game at all. OKC has been leaning under a little. I mean, they're 5-2 to the under the last 2 weeks during this solid run of point spread success. So I would lean under, but only because that's the way they're trending. And I mean, the Rockets have pushed 2 of their last 5 totals. That doesn't happen a lot, you know. So they've been bouncing around the number. I don't have a strong feel for it, so I'm not going to try to give you a take. And then that said, for the season, both teams have been slight under leans, and I wouldn't argue with an underplay in this one.
Chris Paul, player prop points is at 17.5. Westbrook's at 24.5, but that's heavily juiced to the over. Harden is at 34.5. Chris Paul, player points, assists, and rebounds is at 31.5. That's juiced to the over. Teddy, Chris Paul, player props, Harden, player props, Harden points, rebounds, assists is 48.5. Is that something you want to go under? What do you think about these player props for Harden, Westbrook, and Chris Paul?
I think you wait until about 20 minutes before tip-off and you bet everything you can under at the plus price. That's what I would do. If I was going to play these props, you know where the money's coming. Over here, over there, over the other way. This one's heavily juiced. That one's heavily juiced. You go, half hour before tip-off, 20 minutes before tip-off. You bet everything under. You get everything at a plus price. You split, you make money.
Makes a lot of sense. The only prop that's juiced to the under is actually James Harden at 48.5. And that also makes sense. I love it. Okay, there is our NBA card. Could you review your action once more, Teddy?
Sure. I got the in pocket. I have the Celtics plus 2.5. I have the Blazers minus 2.5, and I have the Thunder plus 4. And I wouldn't, I didn't do anything on Cleveland, Detroit. But if I had to play that one, it would absolutely be Cleveland plus, not Detroit minus.
I have Celtics plus 125 and Kemba Walker over 20.5 points. And after losing 3 player props and then hitting the side, losing the total, it actually, unit-wise, was my worst day in NBA of the entire season, and we didn't show the record. It's upsetting. Rafa, can we pop up the NBA record before we move on to college basketball? Upsetting, extremely upsetting. Lamont Williams, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your parlay with us. Lamont Williams popping in. That's what he does. He's at work right now. He pops in, he delivers the goods, and then he bounces. Much love to you, Lamont Williams. All right, Teddy covers NCAA basketball. Have you made any moves?
I have not made a single bet on tonight's card. That said, I expect to make at least one. I think I'm going to take Washington. This is betting number 659. Washington at Stanford. A little bit of bet on, a little bit of bet against. See what the Huskies did defensively against USC after the UCLA game. They gave up all those threes against UCLA. Now that was a defensive performance. And Washington's very capable of doing that. I think Stanford's overrated. I really do. There's a reason that Washington is ranked and Stanford isn't, and Stanford has a better record, and Stanford's not even laying their full home court advantage at home against the Huskies. Washington's the better of these two teams. So I'm absolutely looking in that direction. I considered Murray State, 661, a short road chalk against Jacksonville. I considered Wichita. I heard you and Babano talking about that game earlier. I missed the number on Wichita. Opened 4, now up to 6.5. I didn't get the best of the number there. I considered BYU, betting number 691 against St. Mary's. They're rolling. And I kind of talked myself out of that one. So for right now, it really is the Huskies as the one play. And I haven't pulled yet, but I do expect to pull the trigger on that when we get off air. So you can count that as an official play. Washington's going in my pocket.
Teddy, huge weekend of football ahead of us, and I am about to pull the trigger on a whale capper look. Whale capper broke it down. We've talked about Andy Reid off of a bye, including playoffs 22-3, but Whale Capper was hammering Andy Reid's unders off a bye, and Whale Capper was talking about how, we think of Andy Reid as an offensive coach, but off a bye, he turns into a defensive coach. This total's gone from 49 to 51, and I'm thinking of making a move on the under. First game on Sunday, Chiefs at home against the Texans. The two, I guess there's 3. I mean, I can't leave Lamar Jackson out of it. The 3 most exciting quarterbacks in the NFL, 2 of them are in this game. Houston, Kansas City. What do you think of getting under this total at 51?
What about Russell Wilson, man?
You're right. Russell. How did I forget Russell? These quarterbacks are taking over the NFL, and it's great. It's great. What do you think of getting under this number?
I would have I'm not doing anything with that total, okay? That game could be 13-10, and I wouldn't be shocked, and that game could be 38-37, and I wouldn't be shocked. It literally is the type of game where I could picture a final score 50 points different. You know what I mean? And the Texans are like that, and the Chiefs are like that. You know what I mean? If you look at the results this season, Kansas City's played not a lot of low-scoring games. When they play a better defensive team, we've seen the Chiefs in these, low-scoring slugfests. Had a handful of them. That's not necessarily their MO. And the Texans have been the exact same way, where you see them not every week, but often enough in these, 14-13 type of slugfest. But we know what the playmakers are on these two teams. I mean, both teams are loaded. And you have a couple of quarterbacks who can sling it around, and you have a lot of potential for quick strike touchdowns in this ballgame, more than your average game, more than any other game this weekend, I think. Maybe Baltimore, Tennessee, but in terms of quick strike TDs and big play TDs, this is the game where they're most likely to come, and which makes me reluctant to play an under. But if I had to play it, that's probably the way I'd look. And this is the reason why. Texans defense gets better with Watt. Their season-long stats don't show it. Chiefs defense, head and shoulders better down the stretch. Both teams have a pass rush. That makes both teams' secondaries better. That means both defenses are better. And the season-long stats don't necessarily show it. So we've already seen this total get bet up, 49-50, now 51. I'm not playing it. If I had to play it, I do lean under. And that's because I believe in both of these defenses, especially a Kansas City defense that has been much maligned in recent seasons. And you talked about Reed and the unders in coming off a bye. Makes sense to me. I wouldn't talk you out of it.
I almost when I'm in a situation right now in NFL where I need the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. It's terrible. It's terrible. And when Juan Thornhill went down on the last game of the regular season, I had to go for a walk. Spagnuolo's 4-3 base scheme he's so important. And I'm very worried about that injury. That injury's just been sitting with me. And that's part of the reason why I haven't already taken this under 51. Teddy, if I gave you an opportunity for two bets, which one would you take? 49ers at plus 100 to win the NFC, or the 49ers -7 at the Vikings this week? Or against the Vikings?
I don't know if I like either one. I don't want San Fran to win the NFC, so it would have to be San Fran -7.
And tell us why you don't like the Niners to win the NFC.
Because I think their Vikings are alive to beat them. And then whoever takes San Fran is not playoff tested. Okay. You have teams that have these breakout seasons like the 49ers have. And a lot of times you get to the postseason, and especially coming off the bye, it's not as easy to execute. Okay. Shanahan's an incredible play caller. Do you trust Jimmy G at that level? If Jimmy G's against Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, do you trust him at that level? I don't trust him yet. I don't. Kirk Cousins has more playoff wins than Jimmy G. Okay? And I've been a Niners believer all year. I don't trust them. I don't trust them this week. I don't trust them to win the NFC. I don't think they're going to win the NFC. So at plus 100, it would only be -7 this week.
Joey Harb says, boo, go Niners. Man, Matt Randall says, agree 100% with Teddy here. And I've got Maxwell Smart complaining on the other screen about not getting on because he's 3 minutes late. So I've got to make moves. Teddy, thank you.
Hi, Max.
He's, I can hear him whining. I am whining. Yeah, whining. Teddy Covers, thank you so much for joining us, my man. Very interesting basketball card. Thank you for breaking it down for us. Your favorite and have you got to the window on that over 46.5 in Tennessee, Baltimore?
That is in pocket.
That is in pocket. And you got 46.5?
I did. What's the number now?
Yeah, it's up
There's
to
still 4. Oh, wow. That's getting bet up this morning.
Yeah.
There's like, but I put that about, I said I was going to put it in my pocket after we got off the air yesterday, and I did. When I say I'm going to put it in pocket when I get off the air, I will have the Huskies, the Washington Huskies in pocket, even though I haven't bet it yet. It's coming. But yes, 46.5 is in my pocket on the over for Baltimore and Tennessee.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Teddy. Follow this man on Twitter at Teddy_covers. Teddy, I like your basketball card. I am on Celtics plus 125 in the Kemba Walker over prop. I'm not sure exactly what else I will jump on. We have Teddy Covers again tomorrow morning here at Betting with the Bag. So we got more to talk about. And we'll have Teddy on Monday, too, before the NCAA football championship. So lots to talk about. Teddy, thank you so much for joining us. Have a big day.
My pleasure. Have a big day to you, too, Jimmy. Get mad, get focused. Good luck out there, low baggers. Kick some ass tonight.
Oh, thank you. I need it very badly. Max, thank you for joining us. So sorry to keep you waiting. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, obviously. We won the play of the day yesterday, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, so no time for intro. Let's just get down to business. This is a beautiful card. There's a lot of good spots. I agree with a lot of people that were already on the show, specifically Bobano on that St. Peter's spot. It's a fantastic look. I agree 100% with them, and I like this card. I think that's a card that we can make a lot of money on. So I'm anxious to get started. And the one time I thought I was on mute, I wasn't on mute, so I apologize.
It's okay. It's nice to know how you really feel.
Well, I'm a creative person, you know. I need minutes. I need more minutes.
Well, you've got them. I'm just grabbing your action right now. Let me grab it right now. Here we go. All right. So you did bag St. Peter's plus 9. Is that right? That's on your card?
It's not an official play. It's an addition that I'm going to make right away. I think that the line is going to start to move the other way. I agree with Bobano. I think that defensively, this is the St. Peter's team that is going to be able to really frustrate Siena. They're going to be able to pack the paint. They're going to be able to get some offensive. They're going to be able to get some really. So they're going to be able to stop Siena from getting offensive rebounds. They're going to stop them from being able to get those second chance opportunities that we've seen them be able to get against opponents at home. I think that this is a line that's similar to the Monmouth game, and I think that I agree with everyone else that St. Peter's could win this game outright.
Cash action bets also on St. Peter's. I'm going to move to spreads. Do you want me to lock that in for you now?
Yeah, lock it in. I'm also on the over. That is a play I didn't make official because I got a lesser number, but even at 135, I still support a play on it up to about 138.
All right, let's get you St. Peter's right now. St. Peter's, there is 1-9. Oh, no, there's a few 9s available. So you can get plus 9 minus 105 at Heritage. St. Peter's, here we go. St. Peter's plus 9 minus 105 at Heritage. And let's get you that total right now. We're going to move over to totals here on the best odds page on the planet, sportsbookreview.com, SBR odds page. Let's get you St. Peter's total over 135. There is a 135. There's a 134.5 at Intertops. 134.5 minus 110.
I would take that.
Okay.
But know that I did not get that number. So I got a different number. But I still advise taking it at this number.
All right, let's start breaking down the plays that you've already locked in. Anthony Chalmers, thank you, my friend. Thank you for the kindness. All right, let's move on to your first look, and you're taking the Zags. You're backing Spokane, Washington here with Gonzaga as a big favorite. Let's pull it up. Gonzaga, San Diego. San Diego, it's at home. Gonzaga opening up at minus 15.5. That's where they stand right now at most books, although you did get Gonzaga minus 15. Why are you backing Gonzaga here?
Okay, so we've seen Gonzaga struggle in the conference season so far early on. I think that this is a matchup where they have just advantages all throughout the lineup. I think that their bench is going to play a significant role. I think that the fact that they shoot 50% from the field, that's going to play a significant role. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country. I think that San Diego is going to try and slow this game down. They are not going to be favored in a fast up and down game like the last year's roster would have been. This is a much different team on both sides of the floor. I think that Braun Hartfield and Joey Calcaterra definitely have to get their offense going, but I think that when you have such athleticism and senior players like Corey Kispert and Ryan Woolbridge in the backcourt, I think that they're going to be able to contain it. And I look for Killen Tilly and Philip Petrusov to really go off tonight and really flex their muscle inside. So I think Gonzaga grinds out this win. I think that they end up winning this game by 20 points at 15. It's a fair price, and I think that you can still find value on the spread if you want to, maybe even a first half.
Cash action bets on the other side here. Your next look, Northern Arizona plus 5.5 on the road at Sacramento State. There, it's 5.5 across the board. That hasn't moved at all. This total opened up at 122.5. It's now up to 124.5. Northern Arizona, Sacramento State.
Yeah, this is a Sacramento State team that definitely is one of the best defensive teams in the country. We've seen how they grind it out. We've seen them how they can actually be efficient and get to 70 points. However, I think that against Northern Arizona, this is an experienced team that is really trying to turn the coin on what they've done so far in their tenure in Northern Arizona. I think that with Brooks the Bishop coming off the bench but playing starter type minutes, this is a guy that's efficient from the field. He's going to get you rebounds. He's going to protect the rim, and this is a Northern Arizona team that I trust to make free throws at the end of the game. And I think that Sacramento State is going to it plays a stylistic always constantly that if you can make free throws and you can score with the clock stopped against this team, it's going to benefit you in the end. They don't put you on the line too much, so it's going to be about penetration. But like we've seen, there is a lot more penetration in college basketball season because of that 3-point line moving back 16 inches.
Next up, we're staying out west. You're backing BYU. BYU opens up as 4-point dogs. Now, they are 3 at Pinnacle, 3 at Intertops, 3.5 everywhere else. You are backing BYU plus 3.5 at minus 105. Why is that?
Yeah, listen, I think Teddy was on the right track when he said he was looking at BYU. I think that BYU goes into to St. Mary's tonight and wins this goddamn game. Listen, Yoeli Childs has the finger injury. I don't think that's going to play enough significant role that he's not going to play tonight. This is a BYU team that is fantastic when it comes to shooting the basketball. They do have a little bit of trouble rebounding, but it's not going to really come up against St. Mary's with Matthias Toss out for the season. I think that both teams are going to be able to score the basketball against each other. I think that it's going to come down to how BYU's 28.2% three-point defense against St. Mary's number 1 three-point shooting offense in the nation goes. And I think that BYU, with their experience, with the addition of Connor Toulson, Alex Barcelo, I think that these are guys that are going to play significant roles. And I think that this is a game that Mark Pope is going to have these guys up for. So BYU is a spot for me. I think that they win the game outright, but for show purposes, I only took the 3.5.
BYU. We've gone with Gonzaga, Northern Arizona, BYU. Next up, you are backing UTSA. UTSA here. It's a giant card. Let's get UTSA at home against Louisiana Tech. La Tech opening up at minus 6.5. They're down to 5.5 at Bet Online, 6 at all the other books. It's total at 150.5, all the way up to 151 at a half point. Louisiana Tech, UTSA. Why are you backing UTSA here?
Jim, you ever find a team that you just keep on thinking that they're going to turn it around and they just keep on burning your money? Well, this is UTSA for me. I think that UTSA, obviously we know about their dynamite backcourt, but I think that's going to be about the point guard play that's going to determine whether or not that they can cover this game. I don't think that they're winning this game. My numbers didn't have it, but I did have 2.5 points of value on the spread, and hence that's why I made this bet. I think that first off, without Jacoby Pemberton in the lineup, I think that takes away a key significant offensive weapon, and it puts a lot more pressure on Daquan Bracey and Caleb Ledoux. Mubarak Muhammad, he's got to stay on the floor and stay out of foul trouble and get on the glass. And Isaiah Crawford's definitely stepped up. I think that he can be a difference maker for this team, but on the other side, I just love this Italian kid Cousinbull, and he's just like a revelation. You know, he's not going to turn the ball over too much. He's going to be responsible. He's going to distribute the basketball, and he's going to get Keaton Walls and Javon Jackson in better spots to score the basketball. If you can get some offensive performance from Jacob Germany in the front court, power to you. But I expect UTSA to win this game, or try and win this game by hitting shots from the perimeter, getting to the free throw line, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of performance we get out of Louisiana Tech coming off a 35-point win against Southern Miss. So the value there was with UTSA, but I caution everybody, this is a team that's burned your money this year. So.
All right, we're going back to the well with UTSA, and we all have teams that do that to us. Next up, Cal State Fullerton plus 3.5 at -110, heading back over to the West Coast, going up against Hawaii. Hawaii opening up as 3.5-point favorites, now 2.5 at Pinnacle. This total 134 to 135. Why are you on Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of love and respect for this Hawaii team with Drew Buggs and Eddie Stansbury. These are guys that have made me money on the island when I've been betting on them, and I think that they do have history on their side when it comes to this matchup. But I do think that not having Kyle Allman and Ahmad now, and switching it up for Brendan Kamaga and Austin Owiska, I think that the difference is having our fellow Canadian Jackson Rowe back in the lineup. This is a guy that's going to be very sound defensively. He's going to get you rebounds. He's going to get you points. He's going to really lead the guys on the court, and I think that's what they needed. I think that's what propelled them to their win against UCLA. I think they've had a Division II game in between that, so I don't think that there's going to be a letdown effect. And I got to see Hawaii play off the island with this team well. There's a couple pieces on this team that I just don't really enjoy from a stylistic and from a fundamental perspective. But in this spot, there was a little bit of value. And if I see a way to middle this game, let's say Hawaii goes down to a 1.5-point favorite, I'll probably try and go for a middle and go like that. So I hesitate people to tail that one because it is something that I am considering buying off. But it is official for the show as of now.
Cash action bets also on it on Cal State Fullerton. We have a question that's come in from our guy Anthony Chalmers, wondering what you think about Belmont tonight. Belmont opening up as 13-point favorites, now 12 across the board against Southeast Missouri State. What do you think of back in Belmont here?
Yeah, I think that this is a revenge game. So I think that Belmont definitely has been different on the road, definitely giving you a little bit of trouble when it comes to covering some of these double-digit spreads, but I don't think that it's going to be the case in this game. I think that with Belmont, for sure, you have a really potent offensive lineup, but we've seen it waver a little, and we've seen some really bad ball shot-making decisions at the end of games, specifically with Tyler Scanlon taking some pretty bad shots and missing free throws at key times. It's a spot where there isn't anything on the Southeast Missouri State side that really gets me interested in laying with them. They're weak in the first half. First half, they're very susceptible to getting blown out. This is a team that struggles to get a good amount of freaking shot possessions. And I think that when it comes to three-point defense, this is where they can get crucified. This is a Belmont team that makes 10.5 3 points a game, and they're definitely good at the free throw line. They can get there close to 20 times. So I'd be looking at Belmont first half full game in that spot or passing.
Next spot on your card, Kansas City. You got them +1. You also got the over 133.5. Kansas City at TRGV, Texas Rio Grande Valley. Why are you back in Kansas City here?
Yeah, this is a Kansas City team that I've enjoyed watching. I've enjoyed betting on. They've given me a couple ass clenchers, including an overtime game, but they've been putting money in my pocket, and I think that I got to continue riding them. Once you find something that's working and you can see that there are some significant matchup and personnel advantages in that matchup, I'm going to keep on riding a team, and UMKC is the kind of team that I see some statistical advantages. UT Rio Grande Valley, they definitely move at a good high tempo favoring an over. And also, this team is one of the bottom feeders when it comes to defense. They're going to allow you to shoot 45%. They're going to allow you to hit 35% of your threes. And Kansas City, they'll oblige to that. This is a team that does a good job offensively. We've seen that time and time again, specifically in that Toledo game at home where they covered as a 7-point dog. I think that with this UMKC team, there's definitely a lot of pieces like Brendan McKissick and Marvin Nesbitt Jr. and Javon White up front. Rob Whitfield obviously has to stabilize the backcourt and be the a floor general on there, but I think that Jonathan Giles is the guy that will make the difference tonight. And if you have someone that can contain Jerron Levy for UTO Rio Grande, you can keep Leslie Varner out of making 5 or 7 field goal attempts and getting to the line 10 times. Well, then I think that you have a good chance to win this game by margin. So I look at KC. KC's my spot, and I like the over also, so I support it. But I think that the numbers moved about 4.5 points from when I bet it.
All right, let's keep rolling along. We are making good time here. Some questions coming in. Mook LaFleur, our guy Mook, asking Max about Northern Arizona on the money line. You like them plus 5.5. Would you give them the green light to take the money line?
Yeah, this is a spot where they can win it outright. I personally would want to wait and see how the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game goes before I would be looking to bet the money line live.
I get it. Next up, we're going back to California. You're taking UC Davis at home. UC Davis up against UC Riverside. You're taking them Davis -2 at -110. Why is that?
Yeah, this is a UC Davis team that I think that as Ezra Manjon becomes more and more adapted to the college basketball game, I think that he's just going to be the difference maker time in and time and again. This is a freshman that is just, I think, is underrated, and I think he will end up at a Power 5 school before his collegiate career is done. Played on a great AAU team with a lot of guys that were more highly touted than he was, and I think that he plays with a good chip on his shoulder. We've seen that so far this year. I think that also with Joe Mooney, I think that you have a guy that will make a shot for you at the end of the game. We've already seen him hit a freaking half-court shot. And from a statistics perspective, I trust UC Davis at the line. I trust them to make free throws. I trust them to get good shot attempts. And I think that defensively, they're just a class better than UC Riverside. If UC Riverside's at home, that's a different story. I look at them a little harder there because they do have an advantage when it comes to offensive rebounding. But as long as you can contain Dikembe Martin for Riverside, I think you have a good shot to win this game by at least 2 buckets.
One for the money is going to that St. Peter's game tonight. St. Peter's is backed by both Maxwell Smart and Babano, and he's asking, should I put the St. Peter's on the money line? It's going to be a lot of fun to be at that game. I would just do 25% on the money line, 75% on the spread if I were you. We have questions coming in. Matt Randall saying, God damn, I love this college basketball card today. Let's keep rolling with Max. And I got the question. I got an AM question. I'll get to your question, Shaf. I'll get to your question, Dan Walsh, as well. But let's keep rolling through the looks on Max's card right now. And the next one is Western Kentucky. You are on Western Kentucky tonight at UAB -1. Western Kentucky opened up. Now they're -1.5 or -2. Oh, by the way, I tailed UC Davis -2 at -112. That's last -2 on the board. Cash action bets also on UC Davis. That's my first tail tonight on tonight's card. Max, why are you backing Western Kentucky here?
Yeah, okay. So Western Kentucky, obviously we know that Charles Bassey's out of the lineup, but I think that when you think about this team, this is a deep team. Carson Williams has stepped into the Charles Bassey role. He's going to give you high efficiency offense. He's not going to do it pretty. He's not going to be the rim protector that Bassey was, but definitely gives you something that you have to consider before you're driving into the lane. I think that with Jared Savage and Cameron Justice and Josh Anderson, you got enough perimeter scoring that as long as UAB doesn't turn this into a rock fight, I think that they got a good shot to blow them out of the water. Obviously, this is on the road, so Western Kentucky definitely had a little bit more trouble when it comes to that. But in the end, this is a Western Kentucky team that I think still has tournament aspirations without Bassie, and we know how Conference USA standings and schedule works out. They group it based on where you are in the standings. So ideally, you want to be at the top and allow guys to shift underneath you and get the best advantages possible. But the numbers really liked Western Kentucky. They liked them by close to 6.5 points, and getting them at 2 was a no-brainer for me.
All right, let's keep rolling along here. We've got Western Kentucky broken down. Next up is Marshall. You are backing Marshall this evening. We have questions coming in. You're backing Marshall. Marshall on the road, Middle Tennessee. Marshall opening up at 5.5. They're still there at most books, 5 at some books. This total at 151 from a 152 opener. Why are you backing Marshall?
Yeah, I'm wearing a Marshall shirt just so you can see. And I think that Jared West is not going to have a 3 for 15 shooting game. I think that him and Tavion Kinsey are going to run wild. I think that they're going to be able to really get up and down, penetrate the bucket, get to the free throw line. This is a team in Middle Tennessee State that definitely has Antonio Green, Donovan Sims, and Reggie Scurry as your offensive catalyst. I think that there's definitely some personnel issues going on internally within this team right now. So minute allocation has been a little spotty. But I do think in this matchup, Marshall coming off a really heartbreaking loss against North Texas at home, I think that they deliver a little bit of revenge to another home team. My numbers really liked Marshall, probably liked them up to about 8.5 points. When I saw 4.5, I didn't get the best of the line, but I felt that it was a strong enough edge that I make the play. I think that rebounding is going to play a key difference in this game. I think that's where Marshall's going to have their advantage. This is a team with a lot more size than they had last year. Very good ball distribution. As long as they keep the turnovers down, I think that Marshall has a fantastic opportunity to get back on the horse and get a win.
All right, Marshall being backed. Let's keep rolling along. Next up, we have Youngstown State is whom you will be backing this evening. Let me pull up Youngstown State. We've got a lot of games on this card, and I'm losing my mind here with finding these games. Youngstown State, let me try one more time. We have Youngstown State. We also have Wichita State. Youngstown State at home against Oakland. This pops off right at 7 p.m. Youngstown State opening up at -4. They're down to -2. Why are you backing Youngstown State here?
Yeah, this is a Youngstown State team that I'm just really impressed with how gritty they are. I think that obviously this is a team that has good point guard play. They got a real nice player, Naz Bohannon, that's going to get you rebounds. He's going to get to the glass. He's going to play really good defense. I think that's important when you're going up against the front court of Xavier Hill-Mays and Brad Bechting. I think that the difference in Youngstown State is this year with Akuchi and Dontrell Cathcart and Garrett Covington, I think that you got enough pieces offensively in the backcourt that you can make 3-point shots when you need them and in transition. With Darius Quisenberry, this is a guy in a point guard and a floor general that I especially love to bet on. He's coming off a bad shooting game. I think that he has a rebound game. He stays out of foul trouble, stays on the floor. This is a guy that will give you 5 assists a game. This is a guy that will get to the free throw line. He'll penetrate the bucket. And you know what? He scores with the shot. He can score with the shot clock stopped. That's the kind of guy that you want in a late game situation. I like this number at 2. I like it all the way up to 5.5. So regardless of where this number is, my edge is clear, and Youngstown State was the play to make.
Youngstown State right there. Chili Dog Dooley just taking Youngstown State first half. Your next look, big game, 21-ranked Memphis up against 23rd-ranked Wichita State. Wichita State opening up a -4. They're now all the way up to 6.5. You got in at 4.5. Why are you backing Wichita State here?
Yeah, I just think that Wichita State's going to get their style of play tonight. They're going to get a lot of 3-point shot opportunities. They're going to make a bunch of them. They got healthy now with Dexter Dennis back in the lineup, only playing limited minutes. But I think that with the depth that this Wichita State team has, they're better coached by Greg Marshall. I'm not a Penny Hardaway guy. I am a little biased, so take that for how you will. When it comes to Memphis, I just think that you're depleted. Damon Baugh is battling injuries. It puts that much more pressure on Precious Achua. You got Alex Lomax in the backcourt that you can use, and you got guys like Boogie Ellis. I'm thinking like, yeah, they can give you a little bit of production, but I don't think that they're going to give you game-breaking production on the road against Wichita. This is a spot where I think that the value is with the Shockers. I think that with Echenique healthy, playing minutes, that's a big key for them. And I think that with Eric Stevenson and Trey Wade, you got guys that can do a lot of everything. They're athletic, they can slash, they can hit their three-point shots, and they get their free throws. So if Wichita State wants to lose this game, it's on them. Otherwise, I think they can win this game by double digits.
You're backing Wagner at St. Francis of Pennsylvania. You got Wagner plus 9.5. You beat that market move badly. It's now at plus 8. Open at 9.5. Why are you on Wagner?
Yeah, that doesn't really give me too much confidence specifically in this matchup, Jim. This is a spot where I played the value. That was Wagner. I think that St. Francis, if you've been watching them, they are rewarding you. They have been filling your coffers. They're especially tough at home. But I think that this Wagner team, I think they're just gritty enough to stay in this game. I think that the numbers definitely support them. I think that with Curtis Cobb and Tyrone Nesby and Adam Morales, you got a solid foundation of guys that can make some shots for you. It's just a matter of staying out of foul trouble. And that's what this Wagner team does. They foul a lot. They put you on the free throw line a lot. And against St. Francis, that will burn them. I'm hoping that they can correct this. I'm hoping that the offensive glass is not going to play a huge part in this game against them tonight. And when I look at Wagner, fundamentally, this team plays fundamentally sound basketball. They move the ball crisply. They make accurate, smart passes. They don't turn the ball over. So if they can do that against St. Francis, you can really lure St. Francis into making some mistakes on their own. And you got to be good with the ball. If you're letting their ball pressure give you trouble and stop you from getting into your offensive flow within the first 10 seconds on that shot clock, well, it's going to be a long day. But I think that it's going to be the other way, and I think that Wagner's going to be able to hang around and backdoor cover this spot.
Your final look of the plays that you sent in early. And to get them, you have to follow Max on Twitter at Maxwell Smart 420. It was North Florida at home to Florida Gulf Coast. North Florida has been very good to us this year. They opened up as 12.5-point favorites. It's now down to 11. You got North Florida at minus 12. Why are you backing them here?
Yeah, I think that North Florida just is going to be able to outpace Florida Gulf Coast. I'll give Florida Gulf Coast. They got me. They got me good, Jim. I had Lipscomb, 5.5. What happened? Florida Gulf Coast smacked them with you-know-what. I'm not going to say it on air. But I want my money back. So I'm looking for a spot to get on a team that's playing Florida Gulf Coast, and this is a spot. North Florida with Garrett Sams, with Wahid Aminu, with Carter Hendrickson. This is a team that offensively can take care of business. This is a team that puts up a lot of shots. They get a lot of shot possessions. They move at a tempo that fits them based on the opponent. And if Florida Gulf Coast has to play at an elevated tempo, I don't think it favors them. I think that North Florida takes care of business tonight. And I suggest also getting on the first half if you're into doubling up on spots.
That will maybe be a double up spot for Max. We haven't got to his play of the day yet. Those are the looks that Max locked in. Max, we got to put a bow on this show and shut her down. A couple quick questions. AM saying, what do you think about Hofstra? We already had our guy Babano back Hofstra. Are you backing Hofstra this evening?
There's a guy that I've been fading, and he's on Hofstra, so I'll probably just lay off of it.
Schaff is saying, please ask Max to break down Northern Colorado versus Weber State. Seeing a lot of value on Northern Colorado -3. My biggest edge of the day, so I'm wondering if I'm missing something.
Well, I think that with Northern Colorado, definitely you're getting some good production, you're getting some balanced scoring, and you get definitely good, fundamentally sound basketball. I think that the question is, what are you going to get from Weber State at home? Weber State coming off a very disappointing performance. Jarek Harding struggling from the field, more pressure on Cody John to score the basketball. And we know when Weber State isn't getting Jarek Harding involved in the offense, they're a team that struggles to get 50. So the only way I'd be looking is Northern Colorado. Otherwise, I'd be passing on the side.
All right. We need to put a bow on this show. But Dan Walsh wondering about this giant Giant game, Arizona, Oregon. We've heard a lot of cappers in the chat backing Oregon here. Are you, Oregon opening up at 2.5? There's 3.5s and 4s on the board now.
I'm not backing it at this point. I definitely missed the best of the number when it opened at 3 or 2.5. At 4, I'm not saying I'm looking at Arizona. I want to get on Oregon. I'm wearing the Oregon hat for that reason. But at the number right now, I'm not taking it.
Our guy, Prince of the City, wondering what you think of Michigan at home against Purdue. 5s across the board, Michigan favored.
Yeah, it's a total stay away spot. Everybody and their mother is on Michigan. It's a comeback spot for both teams coming off horrendous performances. And with Michigan's home court advantage, the way that they're moving the basketball, scoring the basketball, it's just not a spot that I want to get on either way.
All right. And then the Michigan State spot's another big one on the card, but we got to close up. Michigan at home against Minnesota, open at -11, now -12. 8th ranked Michigan State. What do you think here?
Yeah, another pass spot for me. There's just so many better spots, in my opinion, when it comes to mid-major basketball than it is going with the Big Ten in a serious match.
All right, Max, we got to go, and I'm sure you have additions you want to make. Do you want to hammer some additions for me, and I'll just put them down, and then I'll line shop like I did yesterday right when the show's over?
Yeah, sure. Lipscomb -13.5. Fairleigh Dickinson +2. Merrimack -2. Liberty first half.
Wait, slow down. Sorry, I just got the Lincecum. It was a little slow there. Can you go again after Lincecum?
Yeah, Fairleigh Dickinson +2.
Okay.
Merrimack -2.
Okay.
Liberty first half full game -18.
Okay.
Idaho State +5.5.
All right.
Jacksonville State +5.5.
Okay.
And Oral Roberts over 144.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So we jumped on Lincecum, Fairleigh Dickinson +2, Merrimack -2, Liberty first half full game, Idaho State +5.5, Jacksonville State +5.5, Oral Roberts over 144. The plays that Max gave out on the show: St. Peter's +9, over 134.5, -110, North Florida -12, Wagner +9.5, Youngstown State -2.5, Wichita State -4.5, Marshall -4.5, Western Kentucky -2, UC Davis -2, Kansas City +1, and the over 133.5. Cal State Fullerton +3.5. He said he may buy out of that spot. UTSA +5.5, BYU +3.5, Northern Arizona +5.5, and Gonzaga -15. Gonzaga -15. Roman Pedals on Boston -1.5 in NHL. I'm on that as well. He's also on St. Louis -1.5, Vegas -1.5. In college basketball, Roman's on Coastal Carolina +3.5, Florida International +7.5, Washington State +1, Santa Clara +6.5, and Oregon -4. Teddy's getting to the window with Washington and NCAA basketball. Lamont Williams 3-team parlay. Oregon -2, Oregon State -2, Wichita -2. The Gooch play of the day from our guy Corey is Florida. And now his handles, focus on your bets, is Florida International +7.5. Gooch play of the day. He's got strong leans to North Florida, Tennessee State, Tennessee Martin over 153.5. And he's also backing the Cavaliers this evening. Backing the Cavaliers. Dan Kelly on the first half, Boston, Philadelphia under 106 at -120. That's the spot that Dan Kelly's on, amongst others, which we will read out. Rod Zawacki's on Oregon -3, the Beavers -4.5, Hofstra +4.5, Coastal Carolina +3.5. Our guy Babano got to the window with St. Peter's +9, Memphis over 140.5, and Hofstra +5. Ben Sports 24/7 cash flow play of the days, Michigan Purdue over 130.5. He also likes that Towson Drexel over 130.5. I only made 5. Oh, I did tail one play in NCAA basketball. That's UC Davis -2 at -112. That's another look for Dan Kelly, Portland -2. Teddy Covers is on that as well. And Houston OKC over 226. I find that look very interesting. I've only got 6 plays in total, including that UC Davis at -2. I'm on 3 plays in NHL. I'm on the Knights first period, -0.5 at +115. I'm on the Oilers -1 at plus 237, and I'm on the Bruins -1.5 at plus 115. Then I took the Celtics money line plus 125, as well as Kemba Walker over 20.5 points. AM, the titty sauce, play of the day. Barcelona money line -106. D Money, Chiefs Kingdom special, first quarter, first half on the Chiefs. Cash action bets, talking football on Houston and Minnesota. Dan Kelly says Lecce. And we're going to let Maxwell Smart pull us off with this Lecce. Get us, put a bow on this bad boy. Man, I need a bounce back spot bad tonight, or I'm going to lose my shit. I better get it, or I'm going to not come in here. I'll come in here nonplussed. I'm worse than nonplussed. I'll come here fucking angry. Maxwell Smart, can you... and please, if you could hit the link at the bottom, www.sbrvideo.com/thebag. That would mean a lot to me. Max, could you give us a little Lecce us out of here, my man?
Yeah, well, Jim, obviously, hit that goddamn link. That's what Jimmy the Bag asks of you. He doesn't ask much. Comes on here, breaks the shit down, gives us a forum. So... hit that goddamn link, okay? And also, win your bets tonight.
Maxie,
and,
we forgot. I hate to interrupt, but we forgot to get your play of the day. My fault. Max, can you hit us with the play of the day? You thought you were going to get out of it. No, you're coming off a winner. Let's get another winner, Max. What is it?
I did. Okay, listen, we're going with Detroit Mercy. We've seen Detroit Mercy play quite well in Horizon League. I think that they take it on the road. They go into Cleveland State. They take Cleveland State to a certain valley that I used to take my bookies to. You take them to some grass that has some liquid on it, and they're going to graze on it. Let's go Detroit Mercy Titans. Get some.
Do you want Detroit Mercy on the money line?
Yes, sir.
And Detroit Mercy, let's line shop for the best money line spot. It's just plus 103. Is that enough, or would you rather a point or two?
No, plus 103 is fine. I think that they're winning this game outright, so I'm not worried about it.
All right, I've added one more play. I am tailing the play of the day. I expect it to get hot. I'm on Detroit Mercy play of the day now. You can let us out of here.
Lecce Avos Bookmakers.